What's up? What's up? Thank you for joining us for this podcast episode. I'm Ron,
I'm Angela.
and this is
Chatter
Chatter
of
of Opinion.
opinion.
So today we are talking about
Financial
financial
responsibilities when moving in
when
together.
moving in together. One of the things that happens is individuals decide to shack up, but they don't take in consideration the financial aspects of things. And I'm not talking about just moving together,
Right.
I'm talking about maintaining the relationship financially.
Yes, during the time that they're living together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. After you move in, there are bills to be paid.
And bills you've already had.
Correct.
Right?
The conversation is who pays what in the relationship
And the split.
yeah, and the split.
That's important.
In this relationship, when individuals move in, the question is, when do you guys even hold this conversation about finances, period? In the relationship, when you start dating, and you're going on your day to day and you decided to fall in love and you're going to take it to the next level, when does that
Yes.
conversation even happen about finances?
And how?
But when? I'm asking
Yeah.
you, when do you think that this conversation should happen?
Well, I guess it depends on the progression of the relationship, but when either you decide together or one person asks the other, I think that in asking, hey, I'd love for us to move in together, there's some things that we need to discuss as to where we are at separately, coming in together, and then start laying out the.
Yeah, but that can be pretty sticky if somebody is not financially responsible.
I hear you, but that it needs to be had so that you understand and you can discuss it.
I agree with you, but within that relationship, I don't know how deep I would have to be in the relationship to discuss my financial situation, especially if my financial situation was bad.
I hear you, but I feel like the point in this is to be like, try to get it as early as you can so
Okay.
that there's no stickiness later that could create, that situation that would cause you to break up. Let's get all of that over with from the get-go so that once we're already in and we fell in love, blah, 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 and then the finances unfortunately could split us up. Let's discuss it right away.
Okay, so I'll ask you this question. Do you think it would be appropriate to kind of play house and deal with our finances before we even decide to move in with one another?
Oh, that might be. I always said like kids should have financial classes in high school. So that's kind of like a precursor to, hey, let's do this before moving in, just as like a practice run.
Right.
Yeah.
You kind of have, because of the fact that I don't know what it is that I have going on together. I've always taken care of myself. But then when it comes to moving in with someone, I don't know if they can pull their weight, how much weight do I have to pull, and so forth. So
and how much can we each contribute?
Right.
Because one person may make significantly more than the other.
Oh, okay. Well, let's speak on that then. One person makes more than the other.
Okay, but does that person have more of the responsibilities or debt?
I'm going to say, I don't care. It needs to be split 50-50.
Wow.
You need to hold your own weight in a relationship until the point where we are both comfortable. And if I was to lose mine or you were to lose yours, we would be somewhat okay.
So then, say there's somebody who makes significantly more, but the other person doesn't. If you're saying that conversation needs to happen, and the person who makes less should be like, this is what I can afford. What if the person who makes more is like, well, I don't want to sound like that's beneath what I am comfortable in. I want a penthouse in this, blah, blah, blah.
No, well,
right?
in that case, I think that if somebody makes significantly that word
I know.
less, I think that the conversation needs to be had on what the person that makes the least amount can actually
contribute.
afford. Yeah.
And if the other person is willing to foot the bill for the rest, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
about,
because if I'm telling you this is what I can afford, but you're saying I hear what you can afford, but I want to live in this area and it's higher price. Well, this is what I can afford.
Right. It's about what each of the individuals can afford. But you just can't, just because a person makes more money doesn't mean that you can rely on that person's income.
Yeah,
Especially after we just dealt with COVID, and a lot of people that
true.
was making a lot of good money got laid off.
I agree. And also, if you're renting, unfortunately, the management requires equally, like 4 times or 3 times for you to make that amount individually, right?
Okay.
Because if you can't foot the bill if the other person leaves,
You gotta take care of
correct.
it
But again,
somehow.
that is my point. If the person who makes a higher income is a little bit more picky about maybe the location or the style of home that they live in.
Yeah, that pickiness is out the door when it comes to surviving. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of pressure on the guy too, because I did some research and it
Okay.
states in 2022 on the Global Gender Gap Report,
Okay.
it stated that men make approximately 17% more than women, which is
Sounds
20.
about right.
It says $20 less for females for every $100 that a man makes. So in today's society, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, I
Mhm.
think everyone should be paid equal for what they do, but they say men make a lot more than women do. So when it comes to this situation, now you got some men that don't carry their own weight, but in this situation, especially in today's age where it's not really fair, men will normally bring home a lot more than women. So is it fair to always assume that the man is going to pay more than the woman just because their financial situation is stronger than the woman's financial situation? Or how does that look? I'll even put it this way: how does it look when you are a female, a proud, dominant female, and you've made it, and you're successful,
Mhm.
and you make a lot more than your man, and you
Mhm.
carry in the
Yo,
majority
man.
of, yeah, like your rent and your
Yeah.
bills and stuff like that? How does that look on the man?
Hmm. I mean, if you take gender out of it,
Okay.
right? The person, in my opinion, because you think 50-50, I think it should be divided based on your income.
Mm,
Because if I make significantly less than you, I can't foot a bill for 50-50 based on if we decided this is location, this is the style of place that we want or level or whatever,
right.
right? And this is great, but I can only contribute this much and I make less and the other person, I think that it should be maybe a percentage. 50% of
Ooh.
our income is the contribution.
Okay, but I'm gonna go to point number one, which is, what if I make a lot more money than you, but I have more debt than you coming into the relationship?
Yes, that does definitely have to be considered because
Right,
maybe the person who makes more maybe also comes with the children
right.
or has like student loans or just maybe more debt. They weren't great at managing it
Period.
before. And so now this is what baggage I come with, right?
Exactly, because
I hear you.
I'll be the first one to say that I made quite a bit of money back in the day, but woo, I owed everybody and their mama. You know what I mean? My surprisingly, my credit wasn't good, and
You
so
really
forth.
didn't, though.
But I'm just saying, I just owed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what happens when I make a lot of money, but then again,
You
a
just
lot of
didn't
my money,
manage that money well.
right? And a lot of people are in that situation
Hmm.
when you're single and you're out there and you're just spending and spending. Let's say you get the nice car and you get the this, that, and the other that costs money. You owe Best Buy or something like that.
Totally.
You come into the relationship, but I make, let's say, quite a bit of money more than you or the female and so forth. And all of a sudden, you want me to pay more money just
Yeah.
because my bank statement or
Yeah.
my
Your net
leaving
income.
earnings earnings
Yeah.
statement says I make more.
Yeah, you
That's
might have child support too, or
my
yeah, there's a lot of aspects, right? I get it. But again, that's hence the conversation. And the earlier the better. So
yes.
that's very important, right?
So when does that conversation happen? Pretty much, is it before you move in? Once
Yes.
you start getting serious, you should start talking to somebody, because it really has nothing to do with just moving in. When you start making future plans, you want to know where each other stands financially.
I also think too, if we are going to combine purchases, right? We're going to move in together and we're both contributing now to this household. How does that work out in case it doesn't work?
Right.
Right? This is what I contributed. This is what, like, oh, it's all so sticky. But also with that comes like other issues, like um my friend Jamie had said, "Oh, well, what about if I make more than that person, like based off circumstance, or what did she say, their capability? Like say we
Okay.
move in, you don't make a lot of money and I'm like a driven person, I'm ready for the next level. Do you base it on, oh, well, I'm going to pay less because I only want to work at this place?"
Oh, so you saying you got a
Like you're not
lazo?
drip kind.
You got
I
a
didn't want to say
lazo
that,
chilling.
but I don't want to say lazy, but maybe they're not ambitious. Maybe is a better word.
Okay, but when it comes to that,
But does that mean I should pay more because I'm driven and ready to make more and succeed in my career, and you're kind of okay with where you're at? Should I pay more because you're not a driven person?
well, I think that would affect your relationship, period. If I want to
Right?
go to the next level and I want you to go to the next level too, and I'm busting my butt,
Yeah.
but then you're stuck where you want to be just because it's easy
Yeah.
for you, then that can affect your relationship,
Totally.
period. So I don't think that really has a lot to do with financially. I just think that has to do with the person.
Hmm.
However, if you accept that person for that, then whatever comes with it, you have to accept as well. If you have to
Yeah.
carry the load because this person is not driven to go to
Yeah.
the next level to make more money, you're accepting that person
Th-
for who they
then
are.
you have to accept you're the
You
breadwinner.
have to.
Huh.
But a lot
Okay.
of a lot of guys don't like it when the
The
woman
woman makes
is,
more.
yeah, yeah.
Shoot. If I were a man, I'd be like, "Get your money, honey."
I would say the same thing. But in that case, if you do make more money and you are paying more towards the bills, which I still think it should be 50-50,
Okay.
the person that pays more, do you think that they should have more say so when it comes
Mm.
to spending in the house or towards the household?
Um, the type of person I am, I would say yes.
What do you mean you say yes? So let's say that you're making a lot more, you're putting in a lot more
Mhm.
towards the mortgage or the rent.
Mhm.
You're coming out the pocket.
Because at that point, I'm head of household.
So then you have the say so.
I feel like there still has to be a conversation, and there has to still be mutual respect and compromise. But I say ultimately, whoever's kind of the breadwinner or the head of household, you're
Okay.
contributing more. I'm contributing more. So unfortunately, I
But that's
have kind of the
circumstantial.
the like last say.
But that's circumstantial though. You might make more because of your job or whatnot.
Mhm.
Or if you think about it, people that are older within a relationship that have worked longer in life tend to make more than
Mhm.
the other individual, but doesn't make them necessarily a vocal dominant when it comes to what needs to be spent, or they have given the upper hand to spend more or have more
Well, what do you
control over
think?
spending.
You're asking the question, but what's your answer?
I don't think so. I think if
It
you're
should
looking
be
at me,
equal.
I think it should be split because we have come to an understanding that this is what the situation
Right,
is.
that this is my contribution, this is yours,
Right.
and we make the decision together.
To the best of
So what if we don't
our
agree?
knowledge. Then we don't do.
Oh,
If we don't agree on it, then we just don't do it, because then
okay.
once again, that's going to cause further uh,
Issues.
yeah, issues within a relationship. Then it becomes bigger than just the financial part of it. Then it becomes respect. Now you don't respect me because I don't make
Make
as
as
much as
much,
you
yeah.
do, and then you think that you can just boss me around and tell me I can't go buy my fifth of Jack or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Well, that brings up another topic is, okay, say you are the one who does make more and you're the one footing more of the bill. and then the person who makes less is spending on, I don't know,
Oh.
random stuff or
Mm-mm.
lots of food or
Mm-mm.
whatever the case, they're kind of freely spending.
Mm-mm.
Is there some judgment there and kind of like questioning, right?
Yes, pretty much. Because if you're telling me that I got to pay $100, $200, $300 more
More.
than you for a rent or mortgage, and
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden I see you, you shined up, you got your hair did, which is okay, and your nails done, and then you just out there spending. You already said that you can't afford to put
The
in
rent.
half. Then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden you out there in the streets trying to buy up everything, putting us more behind.
But what if I added my hair and nails and stuff into this is my costs, so this is what I can contribute?
Then you tripping. No, you don't add no extras like that in. Now, as in the guy's position, I want you to be iced up. You know, and I want you to look
Well,
good.
I can't because you're over here saying that I can't because you're gonna judge me because I went to go get my roots
No,
done.
I would want that. So if it was me and I made more, I would set it aside and want you to look a certain way for you to be,
Right.
feel pretty, this, that, and the other.
Yes.
But then when it becomes outrageous, now you getting the jail tips
Right.
or whatever,
Yeah.
the French tips or whatever you got to do.
You judging.
You better go to Walmart
Yeah.
and pick up that cure pack.
So
or whatever
that
you gotta
can
do.
cause another rift in the relationship.
Because look, I'll do your cuticles. Bring it on over here. I got your cuticles.
Bring
for
them
you.
toes, girls.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure there is a lot of judgment, when somebody's paying extra money on anything, and then all of a sudden you're going to spend it on something that you want to do versus something that you have to do.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the other person is going to judge you for that,
Yeah.
which is not really a good deal. But it happens.
Right.
It's the same as if I loaned you $50. You said, "Hey, I need this $50," and then you pay me next week, and then in between that time, I see you buying some other stuff, and you going to the club or something like that. I'm like, wait a minute now.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
I was that person with my son when he wasn't being as responsible. I was very judgy if he like had to borrow money and then he's over there getting food every day and this and that. It's like, wait, hold up.
Yeah,
you just borrowed money from me, but you acting like you got money. So
he did have money. He had no money. He was chilling. He
did. I know. But then I had to like tell myself, okay, I'm lending this knowing I have to trust he's going to pay it back. And I couldn't judge based off what he was spending it on. I had to freely give it, knowing he would give it back, but couldn't judge on what he was doing in between getting it back to me.
Right, because once you give it to him, then it doesn't matter what he does with it. You gave it to him.
Correct. As
Unless
long
you
as
needed an explanation to give it to him.
Right.
But in this case, when it comes to splitting bills or whatnot, and we're just talking on the surface of things, we're talking like rent or mortgage. A lot of people, what they don't understand is once you move in, there's other things outside of rent and mortgage. You have like your cable bill, your cell phone bills.
But like I said before too, some of the stuff is stuff that you may have came with, like child support, student loans are a big thing, credit card debt that someone came in with before.
But should that even play a factor? Like you have child support coming in and going out. You know what I mean?
Or
but then, let's say child support, because child support don't last forever. So what happens? Do you readjust your financial situation?
Maybe there should be an evaluation period too. Like, okay, when there's a large shift or change in either of our circumstances, whether it's more income, less income, more or less debt or bills, I think things should be reevaluated.
I think stuff should be 50-50 to begin with. If we can't afford it, like we move into a spot, or we're looking to move into a spot, I'm going to look at how much it costs us for our rent or our mortgage, how much the bills are, and here's what the total is. Can you afford your portion of this? If not, we go on back down to a different neighborhood. We have to, sacrifice a couple of things before we move in, but that's how it has to be.
It seems less sticky to do it 50-50. But again, the conversation needs to be had about, like I said, if I can only afford so much, but you're wanting like I keep saying higher level. I can't think of the word, like a more
upper notch.
Top notch place or neighborhood or whatever, which is going
Mhm.
to cost us more, but you want to keep it 50-50, or that was our agreement, those things are considered
Right.
too.
But I
So
think I think like I said, it's to
the
me,
compromise is we pay 50-50, but unfortunately we can't move into that place or area you want because you want to do 50-50.
correct. So what I would do is, okay, we pay 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need me to get you at times, I got you. But we're gonna pay 50-50. I ain't gonna let you be broke because what you got is what I got. You know what I mean? But
But then with that comes the judgment. If
uh,
you say that and then I go and get my nails and my hair done, and
it,
you're like, I just lent you $200 for the
mhm.
rent, but then you went and got your hair done for
If
$200.
you didn't go in the bathroom and get it done on your own, then yeah, I'm gonna
See?
judge you because hey,
I,
look.
yeah.
But no, I don't think I would judge. What I think what happened is, like I said, if I made the decision to move in, knowing what the circumstances
Mm-hmm.
are, I'm not gonna let you
You
fail because
can't.
if you fail, I
Yeah,
fail. You know what I
totally.
mean? So if I got it, I'm not gonna just say, where's your part of the rent or where's this, that,
Mm-hmm.
and the other. If I see you struggling or if you need something, I got you. But I want you to get into that frame of mind where it's 50-50. So if I were to leave, you know that you can cover 50% of the
My
bills, your
portion,
portion
correct.
of the rent or whatever, if you find somebody else.
Right.
Because when you find somebody else to come in, that other person ain't gonna be like, well, why are you only paying this? And then I gotta pay what he was paying.
Right.
So if you cut it 50-50, you already know I'm paying this. This is how much it is. You gotta pay this.
Yeah.
And that'll cut down on something. God forbid that you split up with whoever that you moved in with.
I still think there can be compromise on the we do it based off of a percentage of our individual income.
Mm.
Yeah.
But how do you hold that conversation though? How do you
Yeah.
approach the
It has to
conversation?
be done when, hey, I'd really like you to move in with me. Before we do that, I think we should lay out on the table all of the things that come with that, what our income is, blah, 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 because I want to make sure that we're upfront with each other so there's no surprises.
Yeah,
And so that we can always work together in making the decisions for our new household and working as a team,
right.
so we can flourish and have a strong relationship.
Yeah, but that once again is pretty sticky because I go into a relationship with you looking at me in a positive manner, and then I got to break out all my debt and
Yeah,
all my
I agree.
irresponsibilities. Then you're gonna look at me differently
I've
because
heard of, I don't know if it was on TV or where I saw it, but yeah, like I remember people like looking to get married and all of a sudden the guy realizes that his fiance has 150,000 in credit card debt, right? Or someone comes with that much in student loans or
or
whatever the
child
case may,
support or
or child
whatever
support. I
it
have
may be.
back pay child support that I'll be paying forever. Yeah, but again, I would rather know it up front and the discussion happen up front. Judgment it all, put it all out on the table so that there's no surprises, because once you are locked into a lease
Mm-hmm.
or a mortgage or whatever it is, it's so much harder to separate than if you just did it before.
I would agree.
And
I'm
maybe
just
even put it in writing, because people will be like, I don't remember you saying
yeah.
that.
I'll say that in a minute. Like,
Yeah.
but I agree that conversation needs to be had early in the relationship, especially once you start getting real serious about somebody and them being your future.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a sticky situation if you were not responsible.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's hard. I'm gonna tell you right now, you can make as much money as you want to, but if you were not financially responsible
Mm-hmm.
when you were coming up or in your
Yes.
early adulthood, and that followed you into your next step in life where you talk about marriage and moving in with somebody, that could be a very difficult situation to tell somebody that you can't afford to do something.
I hear you, but also if it's something that the other person sees as long term,
Mm-hmm.
like you're my forever and I am fiscally responsible, then let me help you get to that level. But you got to be open. You got to put it all
yeah,
out on the table so we can figure it out together. But again,
yeah,
that's that conversation that needs to be
yeah. That's
had.
sticky. Like I said, I got to tell you, I owe 10 grand to Kenny shoes or something like that, or I was on OnlyFans and I opened up a credit card. Now I owe like 20,000 for an OnlyFans account or something like that. That could be a sticky
Yeah.
situation. but that'll tell you a lot about the person
I
before
agree.
you move in to see
Before
if
the
that's what you
commitment
want
is
to do.
there, totally. I
Right.
would rather the Band-Aid be pulled then than after.
Right, because you can find out if they have a certain problem, like a gambling problem or something, before you even decide to move in. I would hate
Mhm.
to move in to find out that somebody couldn't carry their own weight because they
Yeah.
had an issue, whether it be in the past or not.
That's another thing, is being upfront with what you're coming in, what you're bringing in, right? Like, don't say, "Oh, I make this much," when really you're not.
Because you got a lot of people that done lied on their finances. Boy, I
Yeah.
make like 80,000, 90,000 a year,
Correct.
and you make like 30,000
Right.
with the bonus.
Yeah, they're playing you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So even if it comes with documentation, show me what you got. Don't just tell me what you got.
yeah,
Show me what you got, you know? So that's a lot of things to consider, but unfortunately nowadays a lot of the relationships don't work out because of the finances. And so if people can just be more open
yeah.
and upfront and just respect where people were prior, then let's work to be these people we want to move
Right,
together.
because you had a life before you met that person,
Totally.
and like you said, I think finances is the number one reason why relationships do
Don't work.
not work.
Right. But I think too, if you're open, like say someone who does have like a shopping problem,
Mm,
right? And that's where, excuse me, where their debt comes. Okay, when we move in together, are you dedicated in fixing that problem? Are you willing to kind of step back on that? Because now I expect you to catch up on your credit cards and
yeah,
be more thoughtful in your
shoot,
in your spending.
you got a shopping problem when you leave the house. Guess what? We leave in the house.
Or you ain't taking your cards
Or
with you.
yeah, you ain't
Yeah.
taking no cars with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of variety of things that have to be considered. What do you guys think? I mean, have you come into a circumstance where you were in a relationship and something happened? You know,
right.
I'd be interested in hearing your situation.
And like I said, I am a firm believer of you come into the relationship and you decide to move in with one another, 50-50 is the way to go. And
No.
it prepares each side for whatever is in the future. If
Mm.
as a man, if you can't pay 50 or whatever, we're gonna say 50 and I got you. I'll help you out. But it's not gonna become the norm because I'm not helping you out for the future if we don't get to stay together.
Okay, something came to mind when my friend said about, well, what if that person's just not driven? Should I have to pay more? Well, what if it's not necessarily driven, but unfortunately, our society does not pay teachers nothing.
Okay.
But that's their passion. They love children. They want to be a teacher. It's not that they're not driven, but there is a cap on what unfortunately teachers
Right.
can
And
make.
and I can see that. And
Right.
if I see somebody like that and they're driven and that's what their passion is,
Yes.
once again I'll say I would accept that person for who they are and what they have
But you
going
want it
on.
50-50. I can't afford that. Yes, I would love to live with you in that neighborhood. It's ideal. It's where we would love to raise children,
Okay.
but you want to do it 50-50. I'm a teacher. I can't afford that.
Well, you're gonna have to do some after school program or some
I
detention or
can I
something.
can sell my feet pics.
Or something. You have to do something because you have
Yeah.
to come out 50-50. But all of it is a compromise, though.
Yeah, I
You know what I
agree.
mean? Even if I do say 50-50 and somebody comes into a situation where they can't afford to pay 50, we either have to look at our circumstance on where we're going to live,
Mhm.
how we're going to live, and I'm supporting you regardless of the fact. Because outside of finances, our relationship and how I see you should be more important than a dollar bill. You know what I mean?
And
I
I
should be
fully
able to
agree, but
cover.
I still think the conversation, the honest conversation, all things out on the table need to, so
Yes.
that you can make that decision respectfully.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. So on both sides, men and women, whoever you move into, men, women and women, whatever you into,
Yes.
hold that conversation, be transparent, put everything out on the line, even if it's embarrassing. Because I would rather you tell me some embarrassing stuff about you before we move in than learn about it after we get disapproved or we can't move in together for a certain reason.
Noted.
All right.
All right. Well, I'd like to say, whenever you interact with people, make sure you listen to understand. Remember, not everyone has the same perspective as you, but those that are meant to be in your life will match your energy and respect with your opinion as well. So keep that in mind. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us.
Thank you guys for joining us. Stay tuned for our next podcast episode. And we appreciate all the support that you
We
guys
do.
have given us so far.
Yes. Thank you guys.
All
Have a
right.
good one.